Howdy guys, it's Joe here today, trying to help you guys again to get to Diamond, this time in Overwatch Season 5. And let me be honest here, we've had 4 seasons already of Overwatch, 4 seasons of how to get to Diamond, and the majority of the things still do work there. And today I really want to focus more on, rather than tips, more on mindset, more on how to reset yourself, and more on how to get ready exactly for Season 5, and get yourself going on Season 5 when it does come out. Now, of course, if you want any in-game tips, I do have those other videos, but today I want to really help you guys in this exact season get yourself ready and get yourself a little bit pumped up. Now, if you aren't trying to get to a high rank this season, or if you're just hoping for a few quick tips, there might be a few, but I'm really just going to be focusing on the main stuff that will really actually help you rank up, because a few small tips won't really help nearly as much as these main things. Anyways, with that said, let's just get started. And the first thing that I'm going to say, probably, in my opinion, the most important thing that you can do other than simply studying Overwatch and playing a ton of Overwatch, as those are the two main really big things, is to simply spend time before every game, or at least every session of playing Overwatch, and practice your aim. Personally, I really like to practice in OSU. I feel like it's really fun, enjoyable for me, you know, the weeb life. But if you like to just practice in the practice range, or practice in TF2, CSGO, wherever the heck you want to practice with a similar DPI and similar mouse settings, I'd say definitely put your time to that. I know it can be a little bit boring, and I know people probably won't do it, and I know I've told you guys over and over again to do this, but please, put it to yourself, at least for the next week, to put yourself to start actually practicing your aim a little bit. Aim isn't the most important thing in this game, I will not say that, but it is very, very important, and if you can get that up just a little bit, maybe even 10 to 20%, you can really help yourself rank up quite a bit faster. Next, something I guess a little bit weird that I'm going to tell you guys is actually spend a while thinking about the characters you're playing and thinking about what team comps they fit into and how you should be playing those games before you even log into Overwatch. Now, I know a lot of people would say, you know, it's more worthy of your time to just immediately spam a ton of games, but honestly, I feel like the majority of games of Overwatch are won before you even log into the game. And if you have a game plan ready, and if you know who to pick before the game even starts, and if you know how to make a good team comp with the characters that you're good at, and maybe even just how to fill into a team comp, that'll help you a lot more than most other things. As well, it'll help so that you can actually communicate faster when people are picking up a team comp. And yeah, I just say, think about who you're playing. Think about how they fit, and think about how maybe they don't fit, and when you shouldn't be picking them, as that's also a really nice skill to have. Continuing, I want to remind you guys, please, this season, start off your games with being friendly and asking what the game plan is. I know that you've been playing for seasons, and you probably still haven't gotten to where you want to be, but don't get angry, don't get salty, just keep it up. And the most important thing to do, I'd say, is ask what the game plan is. Ask what people are thinking, ask what they think a good strategy is, and where to push. For example, have Genji flank around the left while we all push through the mid. It's very basic, but it's much better than people maybe going around left with Genji while some of you go mid. You want to have a very, very basic game plan every single game, and if no one's suggesting one, maybe suggest one yourself. Just remind yourself that, and if you can't ever happen to remember that, you know, write it down on a piece of paper or something. I'd say getting a game plan ready, be it very, very simple, is going to help yourself just know where to be, and mainly help all your teammates know where to be so they won't get picked off nearly as much. Now to something a bit different, I guess. If you are in a game and you're losing that game in this new season, and you're about, you know, maybe halfway through the game or less, maybe stop yourself and ask your team if you guys can switch it up. Now, of course, some people will, and that actually has won me quite a bit, you know, just changing up your team comp, changing who's playing what, and changing how that's all working. But if that doesn't work, if no one wants to do that, maybe ask your team if they can wait up for you. You can all go in together and try to engage on a different part of the map. I don't feel like people really understand how good this can be. If you keep trying to push through mid, but you keep losing through mid, maybe if you push through top, or maybe if you push through left, if you push through different parts of the map, it can win you the game. You can just maybe need a different vantage point, and people might just be set up really well from the enemy's team at a certain point of view, but if you're somewhere else, you could easily win. I'd say just keep that in your mind. Keep in mind the nice mid-game reset, and if you go through that, it should maybe help you stop quite as many stomp outs. Now, to a thing I had to say. If you are playing the video game of Overwatch, and you have a main, which I would say, please, main one hero, you know, get good at them, and do all that, but please, learn one tank or one support to play along with your main if the role is taken. Now, of course, if you're a smurf that only plays one hero, you know, you're going to do whatever you want to do. But if you're a person that wants to just climb, play whoever you want to play, main them, just play them, along with another person that's a support or a tank. These roles mainly won't be taken. If your role's taken, you're actually going to be able to play another character. I'd say just overall, you're going to get a lot more knowledge. Especially, I'd say this for support players. If you play only support, don't. play DPS or play tank or play something else, as it can really give you a good idea on how to survive more, how to think of how important you actually are, and mainly just how to not die, and maybe how to get a few more kills as your character. I feel like a lot of support people have problems with this. They just assume that they won't die, they just stay kind of awkwardly placed, and yeah, playing these other roles can help you quite a bit, so maybe put a little bit of effort into that. And back to maining one hero, I'm going to tell you guys, I know I've told you in the past many times, main one hero, but this time I'm going to put a challenge to you. Actually pick somebody to main and stick with it at least for this one season, 2 to 3 months, however long it is, but actually do it for once. For me, I'm going to be doing it with Zarya. Zarya is my favorite character, I love her new skin, and maybe even though she isn't the most meta right now, I'm going to actually do it. Try to stream with that and try to do whatever. Just put a goal for yourself for one season to play one character. Not in quick play always, not in arcade always, but at least in competitive always. Or at least as much as you can. When you can't get them, play your secondary, which is a support or a tank. Just finally do it for once, and you're going to help yourself. I know I've told you guys so many times, I just don't feel like anyone's listening. But there we go. Just finally do it for one season. And if it doesn't work, you know, do whatever you were doing before, but just at least this time, give it a try. And as far as another thing that I want you guys to try to do this season is actually decide at the start of season where you want to get. Now, if comp doesn't matter to you at all, if you don't care about the rewards, which are essentially none now, and if you don't really care about the prestigiousness, then just don't play it. Just play whatever else you want to play. Now, if you want a certain rank, then please put yourself actually up to it as a challenge, and plan a reward for yourself if you reach your certain goal. Now, that could be maybe buying yourself some loot boxes, getting a night out, doing something like that. Maybe buying yourself a brand new Yu-Gi-Oh deck, thinking about that, anything like that. Just some goal that you feel like can help you go a little bit overboard, but can actually help you reach the goal in Overwatch that you want to reach. Now, if you've been spending this much time on the game and you really want to rank up, I feel like this can just put that extra tiny bit at the top that can make you want to do it. And, you know, some people don't find this important. Some people don't find competitive games at all like they matter. And if you're one of those people, then simply don't listen to this. But if you're someone that wants to get a certain rank and needs just a bit more of a push on yourself, that can really help you, at least in my own opinion. And those are the main things that I wanted to remind you all about. Really applying to every single role in the game, every single person in the game, whatever you are, however you want to be, whatever rank you want to get to, anything like that, and mainly how to get to diamond and stuff like that. But now I want to talk to you guys about quick reminders for each class. You've probably heard all these things before, but I want you to please internalize these, remember yourself with these, and put them out there. It's going to be one for DPS, one for support, and one for tank. Of course, DPS I count as offense and defense because they're both DPS classes. Anyways, with that, let's just get on to the thing for DPS. And as far as flankers, which is the first category because a lot of people are playing them right now, I'm going to tell you guys flank ways that aren't so obvious, and kind of think about where you're flanking. I feel like 90% of these flankers that I'm watching are just kind of autopiloting where they're going. You know, they go where somewhere worked before and they just keep going there again and again and again, 3 to 4 to 5 times. Just keep dying in the same ways. And if you know a spot that's really nice to flank on and it normally works, you know, give it a try. But if it's not working, actually think about where you can go instead. Maybe look around the maps a little bit more. I feel like there's a lot of areas people don't really look at. A lot of ways, especially as Genji, you can climb up the map and get to kind of awkward angles. Then you can kill people without them even knowing. And overall, just think a little bit more, where am I going to flank and how am I going to get there? Now, if you are playing anyone else that's DPS, that's not a flanker, I'm going to tell you guys, focus on getting high ground. Remind yourself that. I don't know how you want to do it. Put a sticky note, put anything. But I'd say this is a thing you have to do, I guess, unless you're Reaper. But everyone else, please do this. Just get to the high ground, and even if you aren't the best at high ground, you know, practice that, and just get good at picking up the habit of going up there. I feel like this is just one of the easy ways in order to do a lot better as these characters. Of course, your hitbox is harder to hit, you can back up a lot easier, and you have a nice, easy chance to get a lot of headshots. There's no real giant negative about high ground, and yeah, if you're okay at the game and you want to get better, just finally put your mind to actually doing that. Now to some support players, I'm going to tell you guys, stop ignoring the attack button and actually shoot for once at a safe distance. Now, I love support. I personally feel like it's one of my favorite roles. I love to pick it up, and supports actually have quite a bit of damage. But a lot of them just aren't shooting. A lot of you guys just aren't dealing damage. And I know that's not normally what you'd think you'd have to do, but when you have the opportunity to, why not? You can help your team. You can get a lot of kills, you can get those gold elims to make fun of your team or to show how great you are, as everybody likes gold elims. And now as well with this, I want to tell you guys as supports, please never walk right next to your healing target. I don't know why this happens. I know you guys are doing this. You probably don't realize it. Nobody realizes it, but you really do. And stop it. Don't walk right next to that Genji that's in the front line that's about to die. You can be at a really far range, I guess, unless you're Lucio, but you can be at a really far range and, you know, heal them fully up. Just think about that. Think about those two things. I know they are very simple, but these are some huge mistakes that I have honestly felt like keep certain support players down from diamond to like gold. It can pull them down quite a bit. So yeah, focus on those two. And finally, as tanks, the main thing I'm going to tell you guys, I'm telling myself also, actually ask your team when they're ready to engage before you jump in. Now this especially applies to Winston, Zarya, anyone that can actually get in there. Please ask your team if they're ready to go in. I don't know why, but all of us tank players just believe that if we get in there, everyone's going to follow. You know, it makes sense in our heads. We are the tanks. We're the people are supposed to follow. It just makes sense. But that it doesn't really ever happen. Or at least a lot of the times it doesn't happen. You get really bad engages, or maybe even get a great engage where you get on the back line, you're doing perfect, you get a kill by yourself, and your team just didn't happen to come. You gotta wait for your team. You gotta talk to them, and you gotta make sure that they're actually going in. Now, if you can't get in voice comms, maybe just say, you know, type it, that whenever I press, type the word X, or I guess the letter X, let's go in, and just do that. Just have your team be ready for you, give a signal, and jump in, especially with dive comp. It's very simple, very, very basic, but one thing that you have to remember, and one thing that will really by itself just boost your elo quite a bit. That's not really way too hard to actually try to do. Anyways, as always, guys, thank you all for watching. These are just my own opinions about how to get to diamond, and mainly just things that I feel like you guys maybe want to remind yourself on, as it's been a long while. And if you've been stuck at a certain ranking and you don't know exactly why, and you just kind of forgot about certain things to do, well, there you go. Those are some of the main things in order to get up there. Anyways, with all that said, guys, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video as always. Sorry that it was a little bit long and I guess a little bit convoluted, but hope it helped you either way. If you did, of course, leave a like. Tell me how you got to diamond out of a previous how I get to diamond videos, and maybe what characters you're going to play this season, what characters you're going to main. I'm also going a little bit brain dead right now because this video has been quite long and I made a lot of mistakes talking in the video. So I've had to cut it quite a few times. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you want to. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.